Okay, the reason why I stopped smoking and why I think you should too is because it was not aligned with my purpose. Let me clarify this shit. My purpose is to teach about health, teach about wellness, fitness, and just to self develop and help you do the same. Weed, in and of itself, is not bad, but when you smoke it, now you change up the chemicals, number one. Number two, you're making it more toxic for you and your body than it was intended to be, in my opinion. And not just my opinion, but a lot of doctors like Dr. Leila Africa and many others. Even Yaki Awakened, teach this. Firstly, it damages your lungs, you know? But that wasn't why I stopped. I wasn't scared of that. What, as superficial as it may seem, I think I look good, and I would never sacrifice my looks for something that I consider to be an addiction or a habit. You feel me? Like, I like pizza. I like eating pizza, but if pizza started making my skin oily to the point where it started, giving me pimples and stuff, I'd stop eating pizza the next day. You feel me? So with weed, it makes your lips black, bro. Like it darkens the lips in crazy ways. And I genuinely don't think it's wise to smoke weed if you really care about your appearance. So as superficial as it may seem, it's deeper than that for me because firstly, I take value in how I look. I take value in how I treat my vessel that I have for a very limited period of time. I don't want to misuse this vessel in any way. It explains why I'm on semen retention as well. I realize that if I have sexual encounters with women who are not sexually, what's the word, who are not sexually exclusive, it causes a lot of bullshit that I then inherit on a spiritual level, and it fucks my life up to where it's really hard to recover, and I may not recover the next time. So I don't wanna dollar that. So when it comes to smoking it, bro, like smoking even ages you, and like I said, I'm someone who takes pride in how I look, how I appear, even if it's just for myself, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and the perfect example is Goku, bro. Like, you know how good Goku looks like. Look how good he looks. That's number one. He looks youthful. And then when he's on Super Saiyan mode, bro, he looks extremely good. That's why a lot of young boys, young men, or even older men, see themselves as him because they aspire to look like that, to look that good. Why age, like, why age yourself quickly, bro? Like, you're going to age anyway. Let nature take its course. Don't shorten your attractiveness period of time, especially in in already limited time, bro. Like I'm someone who grew up being handsome, being a good looking boy, having girls throw themselves at me like since a young age. So I like that dog. I love it. I don't even like it. I love it when girls go crazy. Like I've had girls scream when they see me, bro. Like multiple groups. Like this group screams, and then I enter the building. There's a group in there that starts screaming just because I just entered alone. You feel me? Don't get me wrong. I'm well aware of the fact that that was because I'm handsome. Like if I was an ugly dude, bro, I thought that would have happened. You feel me? So I think it's a multitude of things. I'm handsome and I got swag, and I probably wasn't seeing retention at the time. So it's always a multitude of things. But being good looking is always one of them. And girls, no matter what they say, they like a guy who looks good. They like a guy with a nice body. You know what I mean? They love it. They love a guy with a nice body. They usually cheat with a guy with a nice body. You feel me? It's a biological trait, bro. Like in terms of being attracted to someone with a certain body ratio. So I wouldn't smoke weed, bro, and risk lowering my value when it comes to the looks department, you know. And then I'm someone who sells fitness online and in person. The better I look facially, the more sales I get, which makes sense. Like, look at how many people follow chicks with big booties on Instagram. And those chicks will go live and they won't say nothing. They'll just start, press the live and they'll start laughing. Or ask the people in the live, what do you want to talk about? Because they have nothing to offer other than their looks. Other than their looks, you feel me? So, looks, we live in a world where looks play a huge role. A huge, huge role, bro. So, I wouldn't risk lowering that just off of an addiction or a good feeling, especially when you look deeper into why you want to get high. Because you're doing that to escape, right? To escape reality. Because sometimes, or sometimes most of the time, if not sometimes most of the time, where it's like, yo, life is hard. It's hard, especially when you look at your goals and where you are. And the lower you started in the totem pole of life, the harder you have it. So it makes sense why the lower you go on an economical perspective or point of view, the more drug use you'll see. Like the homeless people are probably have probably the highest percentage of drug usage, you know, compared to middle class or upper class. You get me? Don't get me wrong. I know they be heavy with the coke in the elites and all that, and all these other weird things. But what I'm saying is, we do get high to escape reality. Like I remember when I used to get high every day after work because I just had a shitty ass job and it was draining. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't all shitty, but a lot of it was. So uh, that caused a lot of mental anguish to where while working, I just kept thinking, I can't wait till I get home and I can get high. You feel me? So instead of getting high, bro, I challenge you to do something that you love doing. You feel me? And don't compare the feeling you get from that to the high because it's never going to be the same. It's never going to be the same. I mean, you can compare it if you want, but I don't suggest it because it's never going to be the same, bro. But I prefer it because it doesn't have the downsides that getting high gives you. Because think about it, bro. If you're going to get high, right? Let's say you smoke up, you get high, right? Now that you're super high, firstly, it's not permanent. You know, if you smoked, it's probably going to be in an hour or two, maybe three, but then it's going to start declining, and sometimes it declines pretty rapidly, you know. And when you're feeling that downer, bro, like it feels like shit, dog. To the point where immediately when it hits, you start thinking, "How can I get high again? I should get high again." You know, those type of thoughts. And another thing that pushes me away from the weed, bro, especially the habit of smoking it every day, was that thing of like, you know, when you get high and it feels so amazing, whatever, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, yeah, like you run out of weed. But, bro, the shittiest thing is using all your brain power, bro. Like, all your brain power in thinking about how to get high again. You feel me? That's something that really happens. And I don't think we talk about that enough, bro. Like, surely you have bigger goals in life than getting the next bag of weed. And consider the time. Let's say you have the means and the money for the bag of weed. Firstly, if you look at it at, like by the end of the year, if you look at how much you spent on weed, bro, in terms of what you used to smoke, what you smoke out of, and the lighters, the the snacks that were the munchies for the week. Like when you add all that shit up, it's a lot of cash. Like at the end of the year, where it's like, yo, I could have used this in a much wiser way. Like especially considering how far I am from where I want to be in my goals. You know. So these are things that I think we really sleep on. So I genuinely think weed is a waste of time, bro. If you're not where you want to be, it's one of those. It's one of those herbs where I look at it and I'm like, yo, if your purpose isn't with herbs, like if you're not someone who distributes herbs, bro, you shouldn't be really touching weed that often, bro, because it's gonna be a distraction. It's such a nice feeling that compared to reality, you're gonna crave it and then you're gonna think about it so often that you don't get productive, you don't accomplish goals in your day to day life. Goals that need to be accomplished. You feel me? So be cognizant, like look at your life, bro. Consider how consider how attached you are to weed, you know, and see if it's doing you any good or any bad. Because with me, when I stopped smoking, because I loved weed so much, and I still do love weed, that I started adding it to my food. Because to get the to get the high from weed in terms of an edible, you just need to put it into a certain temperature, and once it gets burnt to a certain degree, right? Like it will get you super high for a super long time, like around 5 hours from what I've experienced or more, you know. So I'd put the weed in my eggs. I'd prepare eggs, put some weed in there, crushed weed, of course, and I'd get high. Dog, it was amazing. The high is always amazing. Well, not always, but 90% of the time, it's amazing. And if it's not in the egg, I'd put it in the. I'd mix in some soup. I make some soup for myself. There's other herbs in there, and the high is amazing. Or in an indigenous meal we have here in South Africa, we call it ngqusho. You know, so when there's ngqusho, I'd add some weed, bruh, and it would hit. You know, but I stopped that shit because it gives me headaches afterwards. You know, even my homie who used to sell me brownies, I'd love the high, but the downer would be like the next day. I'd have the biggest headache, bro, like a heavy headache to the point where like half of the day I was not functioning. I was just recovering from the headache, bro. It was a very similar feeling to a hangover, but it wasn't a hangover. It's because it can't be a hangover. I guess it is a hangover, but for weed, so it's different. But it's very similar in the sense that it's a headache that leaves you paralyzed pretty much to where you just want to sleep it off, you know, and you're just not being productive. And I'm someone who prioritizes goals, you know, and the 9 to 5 that I have like cuts out my time so much to where I only have the weekend to myself because when I come back home from work, it's already dark outside, so I don't really have time to do this and that. You know what I mean? I just all I have time for is just to prepare for the next day. And then yeah, like with weed, bro, it just takes up my mental space because I'm thinking about the next high, how much I should buy when I get it. Or I mean, when I go to the dealer, you know what I mean? Like I'm budgeting and I'm prioritizing my life to where like weed is like so high in the priority list, whereas like it should not be that high considering the goals that I have and the problems that I'm currently facing. You know what I mean? And then to add to that, it's making my lips black. You know what I mean? Like thick black. I remember when I tell my mom I'm not smoking, and she's like, "No, I can tell you're smoking because your lips are black." And I was like, because she knows like my natural lip color is either like this or maybe a little lighter. You feel me? So That's when I realized, ish, it shit fucks me up. You know what I mean? So be careful with weed, bro. If you do use it and you do get benefits from it, because there are many benefits from weed, make sure you're doing it responsibly to where you're not going to regret, the consumption of it, because it's an amazing herb, like I said, and I keep saying that. But it's very easy to abuse it and let it use you. So just be careful, bro. Just be careful.